What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I, of course, am Ryder Anderson, speaking to you from the Ryder Anderson channel. Today, we're going to be just talking about books. Personally, I love reading. I did not get into reading until after high school. I was probably about 19 when I first picked up my first book I wanted to read on my own outside of high school. I'm now 21, so I haven't been a reader per se for a super long amount of time. So keep that in mind when I talk about the books that I've read in my top 3 favorite of all time, that I'm really only pooling from about 65, maybe 70 books or so. So I don't really have that many to compare it to. I know a lot of other booktubers and people that talk about their books and how many their favorite books are pooling from like hundreds of books that they've read that they've loved, and it was a grueling task to like pick ones that they loved. And don't get me wrong, there were some, it was pretty difficult to pick the ones that I loved for this video, my 3 favorites, but probably not as hard when compared to people who are pooling from hundreds of books that they've read. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into this with coming in at 3rd place. It's going to be The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. This book I read a year ago. Incredible book, by the way. So we follow this girl, Addie LaRue, and it starts off her basically being married off in this arranged marriage that her parents set up to a man that she just does not love. So she books it from the altar, runs into the forest, and she makes a deal with basically what is the devil, where she can live for as long as she wants, but at the end of her life, when she is ready to be done, he gets her soul. The one caveat that she was unaware of in making this deal is that anytime she leaves someone's sight, that person immediately forgets who she is. So we see this, she goes home and her parents don't know who she is, and it's this crazy scene trying to convince people that she knows them, and they're like, we don't know who you are. And we just watch her live her life throughout this book, and it's really just an interesting read. It's a fun read. There's a lot of, it's very intriguing. I think the concept really just reels you in, and it's just good. How can you not like this book, in my opinion? I thought it was great. Alrighty, and there are so many good quotes from this book, but there was one that really stood out to me. And it's from page 31, and it reads, "Perhaps an enemy's company is still better than none." So that is my number 3 pick, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. If you have not read it, or if you were looking to get into reading, I think this is a great place to start reading, honestly. It is such an intriguing story, and I think that it can really draw your attention in. So if you're looking to get into reading, I think maybe check this out. It's a good place to start, I think. My 2nd favorite book of all time. Now, this book holds a special place in my heart. Now, looking back, why this is the book that I came to choose, I have no clue. I don't know why this was the book that I picked up. And if I were to restart my reading journey right now and forget all of the books that I've read, this is probably one of the, I probably would not pick this book to start reading. Nevertheless, this is where I started. This is what got me into reading. And for that, I love it. And it's great. And it is phenomenal. This book is Persuasion by Jane Austen. This was the first, obviously, Jane Austen book I ever read, because it was the first book I read on my own outside of like high school reading. And it remains to be my favorite of her books. I've read all but one, so gonna have to finish her books this year and finish the last book that I need to read, which is Pride and Prejudice. But Persuasion follows the story of Anne Elliot, who is basically a part of this family, and she is engaged to this guy, Frederick Wentworth, and she loves this man head over heels for him. But marrying him would not come with the social impact or the class impact in a positive way that would improve the look of her family. So her family actually convinces her, or persuades her, to call off the engagement. Years later, he comes back, and it's just a second chance romance book, really, from there. But it's got a lot of really compelling characters, really funny characters, a lot of funny situations. I love this book. Would recommend reading it if Second Chance is up your alley. So, pretty good book, pretty solid book. Obviously, it's my second favorite book of all time. So, I wouldn't sit here and be like, it's terrible. No, it's great. Go read it. It's awesome. Can't go wrong with Jane Austen, is what I've learned. All five of the books that I've read have been pretty awesome. I've loved all of the ones that I've read. I'm very excited to read her last one. And my favorite quote from this book, just like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, so many good quotes from this book. So many. I remember reading this and literally like putting notes in my phone of like quotes that I love. And my favorite quote from this book has to be, "But when pain is over, the remembrance of it often becomes a pleasure." Incredible book. Go check it out. Alrighty. Last but certainly not least, my absolute favorite book of all time. And I don't know if this will ever change because I remember reading it and getting to the end and just being like, oh my gosh, this book was incredible. I don't think there was one thing that I didn't like about this book. It is so well written. The story is so compelling. It takes on such an impressive theme and covers such an intense topic, and it does it so beautifully and so well. And this book is, of course, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Phenomenal book. If you have not read this book, go read it right now. It is incredible. It is a tale of moral and the evil of man. And it is just so good. Basically, it follows this man, Dorian Gray, who is just this beautiful man who has this painting done of him where he kind of sees it and becomes almost infatuated with himself and basically like prays that the painting will age instead of him. And that wish of his is granted. And the painting, as time goes on, gets more and more distorted and disturbing and grotesque. The more and more sins and evil that Dorian becomes, the worse looking and the more horrific this painting becomes. And it gets so bad to a point where Dorian can't stand the sight of the painting and he locks it in his attic. Truly just a gripping story. I mean, it is so well done. Oscar Wilde is just did so good with this. I mean, it is truly immaculate. So if you haven't, go read this book. It is so good. I promise you, you will not be disappointed by this book. Alrighty, and of course, I gotta end this off with my favorite quote from this book, and it reads, "Nowadays, people know the price of everything and the value of nothing." Please go read this book. It's incredible. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That's all I got for us today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you go check out these books if you haven't. Let me know if you have read these books and if you agree with where I have them. If you think I'm severely overhyping a book, please let me know. If you think I'm underhyping a book, let me know. If you have any book recommendations, please drop them in the comments. I would love to check them out. Anyways, with all of that being said,